Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about viscosity, Stokes' law, and Reynolds number. In previous classes, we have discussed about ideal fluid. Ideal fluid is nothing but in which there is no viscosity, there is no turbulence, and the flow will be steady, incompressible, and irrotational. But in reality, the fluid flow is not steady, and there exist viscous forces between two layers of the fluid flow. That is, we have as like a friction force. When an object moves on the surface, there exists a opposing force. There exists a force which opposes the relative motion between surface and the object. Similarly, when we imagine fluid as the layers, when one layer is moving relative to another layer, the bottom layer exerts an opposing force on the top layer. The opposing force, the property of opposing force between the fluid layers is called as the viscosity. Viscosity is the property which opposes the relative motion between the layers of the fluid is called viscosity, and the opposing force is called as the viscous force. See here, suppose we consider a fluid like oil enclosed between two glass plates. Consider this is one glass plate and this is another glass plate. There is a oil between these two glass plates. This is glass plate, and bottom one is also a glass plate, and there is a oil between these two glass plates. When we move forward the top glass relative to bottom glass, this oil exerts some opposing force on the top glass. Consider this bottom glass is at stationary, and top glass is moving with a speed of v relative to the bottom glass. So when the top glass is moving relative to the bottom glass, this oil will get sheared. So if oil is replaced by honey, a greater force is required to move the plate with the same velocity. Hence we say that honey is more viscous than oil. The fluid is in contact with the surface, that is the oil. The fluid layer, here the first point is the fluid layer which is in contact with bottom glass is at stationary. Because the bottom glass is at stationary means velocity is equal to 0. So stationary. That means the layer which is in contact with the bottom glass is almost at rest, and the top layer moves with the velocity v. Okay, suppose, see here, I am drawing a shape like this. See, top glass, is moving with a velocity of, top layer is moving with a velocity of v, whereas bottom layer, the fluid layer which is in contact with the bottom glass is at rest, and top layer is moving with a velocity of v. And we imagine that the fluid is having large number of layers. As we go from bottom to top, the velocity of liquid layers increases like this. Velocity of liquid layers increases like this. So here, as the fluid layers velocity increases from bottom to top, the fluid layer which is in contact with the bottom has zero velocity, and the fluid layer at the top glass plate is moving with maximum velocity. Here, suppose I am taking a top glass plate and two glass plates. I am pouring oil in between them. Consider this is top glass plate and this is a bottom glass plate, and the oil is there in between them. At some instant, the oil is at A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. Take the shape of, after some time interval, when the force is applied on top glass plate, and this will be get sheared like this. As the fluid is flowing, after some time delta t, the bottom layer which is at rest will be at same position, but top layer is moving with a velocity of v, so that the shape of the fluid will be taking place like this after some time. That means it will take the shape of A, E, F, D. A, E, F, D. So there is a displacement, there is a shear in the fluid. Here shear is nothing but, there is a shear, a displacement in the fluid is, consider it is delta x, and consider this length is nothing but L. This length is L. Okay. So here delta x is nothing but, in a time interval of delta t, the distance covered by the fluid flow is nothing but, delta x is nothing but, as the fluid is moving with a velocity of v, so distance equal to velocity into time interval. So here the shear strain is equal to delta x by L. Here the liquid is taking a shape from ABCD to AEFD. AEFD. So there is a shear in the liquid. So that shear strain is equal to delta x by L. And here, as the fluid is flowing, fluid is not at rest. As it is flowing, we should take the shear strain rate of shear strain rate. Shear strain rate is nothing but delta x by L. Rate of shear strain is nothing but shear strain by time interval. Therefore, here shear strain rate is equal to delta x by L delta t. Here delta x by delta t is nothing but velocity. Velocity is nothing but delta x by delta t. So we can write it as velocity per unit length. Okay, shear strain rate. Now shear stress is given by, shear stress is equal to force per unit area. Now the coefficient of viscosity is defined as the, now coefficient of viscosity eta is defined as the ratio of shear stress to shear strain rate. So eta is equal to, shear stress is nothing but force per unit area, F by A, divided by strain rate is nothing but V by L. So V by L. So that is F into L by A into V. And the SI system of units are, SI units for coefficient of viscosity, SI units are Pascal second, or the name of scientist Poissels, other units are Poissels. Poisson, that is capital P into L, capital PL, Poisson. The units are Poisson or Pascal seconds. Now, a variation of viscosity of fluids with temperature. Variation of viscosity of fluids with temperature. See, fluids are nothing but liquids and gases. First I am taking liquids here. Liquids. See, when a liquid is boiled, when temperature increases, when heat is supplied to the liquid, temperature increases. Temperature of the liquid inside the bowl increases. As temperature increases, the distance between molecules increases, which results in decrease in cohesive forces. Therefore, as a result, there is a decrease in cohesive forces. Cohesive force is nothing but the attraction force between similar molecules is called cohesive force. So there is a decrease in cohesive forces, a force between similar molecules that decreases. As a result, the viscosity decreases. As temperature increases, viscosity decreases in the case of liquids. As temperature increases, viscosity decreases in the case of liquids. But in the case of gases, I am taking a vessel. This vessel consists of large number of gas molecules like this. As a result of increase in temperature, as temperature increases, a collision rate between the molecules increases. So viscosity also increases. So in the case of gases, as temperature increases, viscosity also increases. Dear students, now we are going to discuss about Stokes' law. Here, Stokes' law. See here, when a body falls through a fluid, it experiences a retarding force. A retarding force is nothing but we call it as a friction. Experiences a retarding force. Retarding force is nothing but friction. Frictional force exerted by fluid is called as the viscosity. Okay, it experiences a retarding force. Example, falling of raindrops is a better example for this one. Falling of raindrops. See, here I am taking a raindrop like this. Whenever this raindrop is falling, initially due to gravitational force, the velocity of the raindrop increases. Velocity increases initially due to gravitational force. When the raindrop is dropped from clouds, as the velocity increases here. See, before going to discuss about the raindrop, we will see when a body falls through a fluid, it experiences a retarding force. That retarding force, F, retarding force is directly proportional to velocity. If the velocity of the raindrop is more, the retarding force exerted by air on the raindrop also will be more. That is, retarding force is directly proportional to velocity. But when raindrop is falling like this, the force air drag will be opposite to velocity direction. So this is air drag. So air drag is opposite to velocity. So I am writing opposite sign. F is directly proportional to velocity and opposite in direction. And a viscous force is directly proportional to coefficient of viscosity. If the medium is air, it offers less viscous force. When the air is replaced with water, it offers more viscous force. When the water is replaced with thick oil, it offers still more viscous force. So viscous force depends on coefficient of viscosity. And viscous force also depends on size of the raindrop, size of the object. Viscous force also depends on size of the object. On summing up all these three conditions, we will get viscous force is directly proportional to eta A V. By removing proportionality symbol, we will get some constant 6 pi eta A V. So this 6 pi eta A V is called as the viscous force. This is known as a Stokes law. This is the Stokes law. So see here, when raindrop falls from the clouds, initially its velocity is equal to 0. As the raindrops falls down, the velocity increases due to gravitational force. So when raindrop is moving downwards, as the velocity increases, viscous force also increases, because viscous force depends on velocity. That is, air drag increases. So here, what are the forces acting on the raindrop? Whenever it is falling down, the number of forces acting on the raindrop are nothing but, see here, the forces acting on are nothing but, one is air drag or viscous force, and another one is nothing but gravitational force, that is weight of the object or weight of the raindrop, and one more force that is acting on it is nothing but force exerted by fluid on the object. Force exerted by fluid on the object is nothing but buoyancy force. Buoyancy force, viscous force are acting upward direction, and gravitational force is acting in downward direction. So what are the forces acting? One is buoyancy force buoyancy force. Buoyancy force Fb is nothing but weight of the displaced fluid. Weight of the displaced fluid. What is displacing here? Let us consider the fluid density is nothing but weight of the displaced fluid. Buoyancy force equal to weight is nothing but mass of the displaced fluid into acceleration due to gravity. Mass is nothing but density into volume. Density into volume into G. So buoyancy force is equal to density of the fluid. Let us consider it is sigma into volume of the raindrop. Raindrops in the shape of sphere. So I am taking the volume is nothing but 4 by 3 pi r cube. Here r is nothing but size or radius of the raindrop. So 4 by 3 pi a cube. Density is sigma and volume is 4 by 3 pi a cube and G is G here. So here sigma is nothing but density of the fluid. Sigma is density of the fluid. And now what is the another force that is acting on? Viscous force. Second one is nothing but viscous force. Let us consider this as the first one. And second one is nothing but viscous force. We know viscous force is nothing but 6 pi eta AV. 6 pi eta V. This is second force that is acting on the raindrop. And third force is nothing but gravitational force. So gravitational force equal to mass of the raindrop into acceleration due to gravity. Mass is nothing but density into volume of raindrop. Density into volume of raindrop into acceleration due to gravity. Let density of raindrop is nothing but rho into volume is nothing but 4 by 3 pi a cube into G. So here rho is nothing but density of the raindrop. Sigma is density of the fluid and rho is density of the raindrop. So here these are the forces acting on the fluid. Force 1, force 2, force 3. Here viscous force and buoyancy force are acting upwards and gravitational force is acting downwards. This is acting upward, this is acting upward and gravitational force is acting downwards. We know, so the raindrop velocity increases initially because of the gravitational force. When gravitational force matches exactly with the summation of viscous force and buoyancy force, that is upward force is equal to downward force. When that occurs, net force becomes 0. When net force is 0, mass into acceleration equal to 0. When acceleration equal to 0, velocity of the raindrop will be constant. So at the moment when the upward force is equal to upward, what are the upward forces here? Buoyancy force and viscous force. When sum of the upward force is equal to downward force, net force is equal to 0. At the moment when net force is equal to 0, acceleration is 0, so velocity of the raindrop will be constant. From that moment, the raindrop will move with constant velocity. So that velocity we call it as terminal velocity. We call it as the terminal. This constant velocity is called as terminal velocity. Terminal velocity. Okay, so here sigma f equal to 0. I am making sigma f equal to 0, that is buoyancy force plus viscous force plus mg is acting downwards, so I am writing minus mg is equal to 0. So fb plus fe is equal to m into g. So here fb, buoyancy force, is nothing but sigma 4 by 3 pi a cube into g plus viscous force. Viscous force is nothing but 6 pi eta av. 6 pi eta AV, which is equal to mg, gravitational force. Gravitational force is nothing but, here the gravitational force is how much? Density of the raindrop into 4 by 3 pi a cube into g. Okay, so here I am bringing this term to right side. So 6 pi eta AV is equal to rho into 4 by 3 pi a cube into g minus sigma into 4 by 3 pi a cube into g. So here 6 pi eta AV is equal to 4 by 3 pi a cube. 4 by 3 pi a cube is common. G is also common. So I am taking 4 by 3 pi a cube into g. The remaining thing is rho minus sigma. Rho minus sigma. Here pi and pi get cancels. Now 2 3 ja 6, 2 2 ja 4. So here next step is nothing but, and now this a and 1a cancels, the remaining thing is a square. Therefore here critical terminal velocity v is equal to 2 is there, 2 a square g, 2a square g into rho minus sigma divided by, when this 3 comes to right side, it will be under denominator. So 3 into 3 is nothing but 9. When eta comes to right side, it will be under denominator. So this is an expression for terminal velocity. Terminal velocity equal to 2 a square g into rho minus sigma divided by 9 eta. A is nothing but radius of the raindrop, g is acceleration due to gravity, and rho is density of the raindrop, and sigma is density of the fluid, and 9 is constant, eta is nothing but coefficient of viscosity. So this is an expression for terminal velocity, right? Now I am going to discuss about Reynolds number. Scientist Reynolds is given a number. That number characterizes the flow nature, fluid flow nature, Reynolds number. Either the flow is turbulent or laminar. Based on the Reynolds number, we can identify whether the fluid flow is laminar or turbulent. We know that when the rate of the flow of a fluid is large, the flow is no longer remains laminar, no longer streamlined, so but becomes turbulent. In a turbulent flow, the velocity of the fluids at any point in space varies. Velocity varies rapidly and randomly with time. So here the Reynolds number is given by, Reynolds number is equal to rho v d by eta, where rho is nothing but density of the fluid, and v is speed of the fluid, d is nothing but dimensions of the dimension, and eta is coefficient of viscosity. Okay, see here dimensions of the pipe, and see here when Reynolds number is less than 1000, when the Reynolds number is less than 1000, the flow is laminar. Laminar means streamlined flow. Laminar or streamlined. When the Reynolds number is greater than 2000, the flow is turbulent. And when the Reynolds number is in between 1000 and 2000, the flow is unsteady. Flow is unsteady. So this is all about Reynolds number. Reynolds number just tells us whether the flow is laminar or turbulent or unsteady. When the fluid flow is more, the flow will become turbulent. When an obstacle is placed in the flow of the fluid flow, the flow becomes turbulent. Okay, so here from this expression I am writing an expression for V. V is equal to Reynolds number into eta divided by rho into d. This velocity is called as the terminal velocity, where Vt is nothing but terminal velocity. Now I am going to explain some examples here. So firstly I am going to explain example 11.9. Example number 11.9. Here a metal block of area A is equal to 0.10 meter square is connected to a 0.010 kg mass via a string that passes over an ideal pulley. So here the force that is acting on the film, a downward force, is nothing but force F equal to simply gravitational force. Gravitational force is nothing but here m is nothing but mass of the object is 0.01 into 9.8. This is force acting, passes over an ideal pulley as shown in the figure 11.15. A liquid with a film thickness of 0.3 millimeters, thickness L equal to 0.3 millimeters, that is nothing but 0.3 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters, is placed between the block and the table. When released, the block moves to the right with a constant speed V equal to 0.085 meter per second. Find the coefficient of viscosity of the liquid. Now coefficient of viscosity is nothing but shear stress. Shear stress is nothing but F by A divided by shear strain rate. Strain rate is nothing but V by L. So here force is known, given, area is also given, we know velocity and also we know L. So we can find out coefficient of viscosity from this formula. So it will be turning out as 3.45 into 10 to the power of minus 3. Units are Pascal seconds or Pascals. Pascal or Pascal. So this is the solution for 11.9. Now I am going to discuss about one more example. Example number 11.10. The terminal velocity of a copper ball of radius 2 millimeters falling through a tank of oil at 20 degrees centigrade is 6.5. Terminal speed is equal to 6.5 centimeters per second. So here terminal velocity is given 6.5 centimeter per second, which is equal to 6.5 into 10 to the power of minus 2 meter per second converted into SI system of units. And radius is given. Radius R is equal to 2 millimeters, that is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters. Compute the viscosity of the oil at 20 degrees Celsius. What is the coefficient of viscosity at 20 degrees Celsius? Consider density of oil, density of fluid. Density of fluid sigma is equal to 1.5 into 10 to the power of 3 kg per meter cube. And density of the copper is equal to density of the object rho is equal to 8.9 into 10 to the power of 3 kg per meter cube. So he asked about coefficient of viscosity. We know terminal velocity expression is given by terminal velocity is equal to 2 by 9 a square g by eta into rho minus sigma. Here we know 2 by 9 is constant and a value is given. Here radius is nothing but a 2 millimeters. A is given. G is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. Substitute G value. And eta is unknown. We need to find out this. And terminal velocity is given. Rho value is given. Density of the copper. And density of the fluid sigma is also given. So what is the unknown here? The unknown is nothing but coefficient of viscosity. So we can find out from this expression. Now I am going to discuss about one more example here. With this I am going to wind up this class. Right. I am cropping this image. Okay, right. Example 11.11. See here, he has given the flow rate of water from a tap of diameter 1.25 centimeters is, here he has given diameter D is equal to, dimension D is equal to 1.25 centimeters, that is 1.25 into 10 to the power of minus 2 meters. The flow rate, we know that from equation of continuity we have discussed about flow rate. Volume flow rate, we call volume flow rate. Q is equal to area into velocity. We have seen A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. Area into velocity at first point equal to area into velocity at second point. Area into velocity is called as the volume flow rate or volume flux. We also call it as volume flux. So volume flow rate Q is equal to A into V here. So here Q is nothing but volume flow rate Q is equal to area into velocity. Area is nothing but, in terms of diameter, pi d square by 4 into velocity V. Okay.